actually at the right home for it to be what it wanted to be. But then you look at stuff that came afterwards that kind of expounded upon the concept or built upon the concept, that like intentionally or not, but Orphan Black, which is a fantastic show, and then now with the HBO show Westworld, which is like crazy similar to Dollhouse. You see that the concept was actually he was on something. And so with Agent Carter, you know, it's the truth of the matter is a female-led sci-fi or fantasy show is hard for the networks to get people to come and watch, right? As much as fans like it, as much as there's a group of people who are ready for that, like beyond ready, network television's still a place where they gotta get a bunch of eyeballs, and I don't blame them. That's just how the money works out, you know? And I give them total credit for, you know, ABC really wanted that. They really wanted to push that. They were really behind it. They gave it a whole second season. It just was hard. It didn't really find a large enough audience. But I think the people, to answer your question, the people who really loved it, it's because it's not only, unfortunately, it's ahead of its time, or you could say it's totally overdue, you know? But Haley, it's like you know, sometimes you find an actor who just melds so perfectly, and she's brilliant in everything, but with that character, she just is such a perfect meld. With that particular character, I think so. The concept is great, but then also Haley is so much an integral part of the show. And also, like, to me, what I thought was really attractive was you take kind of the pulp detective noir idea, where there's the guy out kind of, you know, punching people and getting names, and then the secretary who's kind of like sitting there like pining after him the whole time, and you just turn the whole idea on its head. It's such a great concept, you know. As I start to cry, it's just, no, it is. It was really smart. The writers are fantastic. Great concept, great execution, great actors, and you get used to it as an actor. You know, getting your heart broken. It's not fair. Like, so a lot of times, I mean, everybody knows with like stuff like Firefly, you know, a great show will not find its footing or get canceled for all kinds of other business reasons that have nothing to do with the quality of the show itself.
You touched very briefly on Dollhouse there. Did you have a particular favourite persona that you had during that show, or one that you really wanted to do and didn't get quite a chance to?
I honestly, I just was always freaked out. It was my first big job, so I was always scared. I never really, looking back now, there's certain ones that I enjoy that I think are, you know, I wish I'd enjoyed that job a little bit more. When you first start as an actor, you're just totally paranoid you're gonna get fired. But looking back, I was so lucky. They're all fun. It's such a huge opportunity that I know I'll never get again, because it just had to do with the concept of the show. You just never get that opportunity as an actor.
You seem to have been on quite a few shows that have had a bit of a rocky...
Where I've died? Sorry?
No, you seem to have been on a few shows that have had kind of a rocky path. You were one of my favourite one-off characters in Community as Luca.
Oh.
And that show had a terrible run of it. For the one episode you were in of that, this is just for me really, but how was it working on that show? Was it?
Oh, that was wild. That was wild. I didn't know. I'd never been on, and I don't get a lot of opportunities to do comedy in television. On stage, for some reason, I tend to do comedy. You know, I have these dual personas, right? I'm not really known for it though in television. So when I did that, I hadn't really done a lot of you know, television comedy and how it's written last minute. They're rewriting jokes in the moment. And at one point I was doing a take and I heard somebody just, his Video Village is always like somewhere else, and you guys might go, I was like, what? And I kept going, and then I heard somebody yelling. I was like, what's going on? and the actors were like, he's saying say this, and they were yelling lines, like they're not only rewriting last minute but yelling lines from Video Village, like say this or you know. And I'd never been in a situation where you're like, oh, like right now you want me to say it, like not even in between takes, like do a rewrite. So I think that show's even more impressive once you realize that the actors are almost taking not only notes but new line readings or new lines in the moment.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess just going back to Agent Carter, obviously you're saying that, you know, it's a show that was ahead of its time, it was also long overdue. Do you think that the show has had an impact? Do you think that it has, particularly in the comic genre, maybe paved the way for more female-centric shows and films?
You know, as an actor, you're kind of selfishly always looking for the next job.
Yeah.
So and by the time something comes out, I'm already on to the next job, so I'm not really thinking about the impact it has. For me, the feedback that I've got from a lot of people in who are disabled, and that it was really important for them to see. And this is just a small example of the impact that you can have being on a show, but playing a disabled character and not kind of commenting on it and not being like that's his only defining characteristic, just being a person who happens to have a disability, and then just moves on with his life. I was blown away how much feedback I got from people that was really important for them, and that they weren't the bad guy, or they weren't just the kind of like dork in the corner who's like kind of shoved off and like stay over. That they let that person be the love interest and let them be together. And it didn't really register with me how important that would be for people. I think these things like, what was the show that had a black president? Like it was the
24.
24. You know, we have an outsized influence on people's perception, and like the fact that they can see it, and the young women can see a strong, self-confident, kick-ass woman who's really good at her job and who's killing it. You know, I think this has it has an impact on people who are adults and are grown because we like it, because we need it. I think it has a bigger impact on young people, right? Because it's formative. And a lot of families would come up and, you know, say, we watched your show as a family, like, and it was so, this show was something I really felt so good about being a part of. It felt like I wasn't just putting distraction into the universe, that I was a part of something that was a really good message.
So moving on from Marvel and Agent Carter, and you talking about actors are always looking for the next job. Given the franchises you've been involved with, what is the kind of ideal for you? What would you're going to speak to a casting director right now, what would you be saying in terms of, I want that franchise, I want that role?
Everybody asks you that as an actor, you know, and the truth of the matter is life is not, life, and definitely life as an actor, is not fill in the blank, it's multiple choice. You take the best job that's offered to you. And actually you spend most of your young life as an actor freaking out and getting really upset that you didn't get some job, and then a job comes along that was so much better, and you're so glad that you didn't get that job. Being an actor kind of beats you into its like zen. It breaks you, and then you really have to accept that the next job will be the next job, and that's the job that you're supposed to do until the job after that. You know, it really is something that you have to live by, or you go insane, or you lose your mind, because there's so many things that are constantly up in the air. You always have 5 things that might be your next job, and you just kind of gotta say, we'll see.
Do you have any special techniques to help deal with rejection?
Yeah, I do.
Jack Daniels? Jack Daniels?
For a moment, that was my technique. Really, it's about, to me, living your life. If you have a big, full life, outside of acting, then you can go into the room and be of the best help that you can be, and you really don't want to be. Nobody's doing you a favor giving you a role that you're not perfect for, right? So that's my opinion, and I just go into the room and try to be of maximum help, and if it works, it's great, and then if not, you move on. One of the things I do is when I leave the room, I take my sides and I rip them up, and I never keep them. I always throw them away. It's symbolic. Hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you? Good to see you again.
Well, hello.
Hi, I'm joining the table.
Space for you.
Yeah, he's coming on me too.
Oh.
Well, am I late?
It's
okay.
No, it's
Late
okay. I
party,
warmed
man.
them up.
How you
Oh
doing?
yeah, thanks.
Enver,
Hey, Mike.
how you doing?
Good.
They're so sick of me.
Sitting here carrying our dead weight.
2 hours.